Hello and welcome back to Feed the City. So it's been a long time since we've actually been to the farm, but we're back now, and I kind of lost sight of what I was doing here at the farm. This all began as a way for me to build another farm, but also as a way for me to feed myself, Lewis, and Duncan over at the city. However, we do have a nice array of farm animals. We're getting meat. We're also getting a lot of vegetables and fruits from trees and crops. And we've got power to sustain the whole farm as well. So everything's going pretty well. We've got a train station to ship our goods away. So what are we going to do now? Well, I think it's time to try and realize completion of the farm. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the other side. We're going to hop over, visit the city, and we're going to begin construction today of the food court. Now, if you've ever been to an airport or a shopping mall, you'll know that restaurant areas usually have just like an array of shops or restaurants, and then a combined seating area where you can sit down and eat whatever you've chosen. And because we have so many different cuisines that we're going to prepare over here on the farm, I think that's the best style for us to go forwards with. So let's head over to the city and start building the food court. Okay, so let's jump in. Now, you'll have to excuse my croaky voice because I've got a bit of a cold. And what's good for colds? Well, of course, chimichangas. Yeah, there we go, the chimichangas. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 chimichangas. And now we've run out of... We've got the tacos, we've got the salsa. So what are we missing? Taco, salsa, cheese, heavy cream probably. Or do we? No, I think we've run out of cream. Yeah, so again, it looks like milk is one of the big things. So after I've done the food court, we're going to definitely have to make a milk plantation. And the way the milk facility is going to go down is it's going to be like this. We're going to have lots of cows inside a kind of barn. They're going to get sucked dry of all their milk. Oh, yeah. Then the milk will go into a tank. The tank will pipe to a bottling machine that'll put the milk into bottles. And then the bottles will get ferreted away into our storage. Now, milk usually goes off pretty quick, but luckily enough, that's not going to happen in Minecraft, thank God. And milk is kind of like a sticking point for a lot of things, like cheese, cream, all the good stuff, all the good dairy goodness. So here we are in the city, and oh man, it feels like years since we've been back here. Me and Duncan and Lewis have been spending a lot of time over at the nuclear facility, so if you haven't seen that series, check it out, and that's stuff's going on over here. Now, to get over to the nuclear facility, we've got a few contraptions that we've put into place, thanks to astral sorcery. That's a bit of a chew to get there, actually, because the city's big, but it also sprawls quite badly as well. So it's very difficult to get around just because of the size of it. Which is why, if you guys at home are making your own city, perhaps on your own, I would say build vertically. How about an entire city that is just one tower, and you can get to every single different level using an elevator block? It might be laggy because putting things in the same chunk can be pretty laggy, but it would mean it's very easy to get around that city or the tower. So we have the nuclear plant over here and Starhold over here. And if we go over to the nuclear plant, let's check on things over there. Now, in the episode going nuclear, we have enabled now, finally, radiation. And I'll show you what I mean, because if we right-click on this, the isotope separator, we've got some nuclear fuel in here. And as I hover over it, it says radiation 2 NRADs. I don't know what an NRAD is. I'm sure it's bad. But radiation's enabled, so we've got to be careful how we operate this nuclear power plant, because we could irradiate ourselves, and we could also irradiate the environment. So what can happen is you can get chunks that are massively radiated, and that'll spread across the world. As it spreads, that radiation will actually harm farm animals. So if it gets back to our farm, we're completely screwed. Also, the radiation buffs monsters, so you have to be very careful of that too. But anyway, back to the city. Right, so where do we want to put our food court? Well, there's something that I built a long time ago for Duncan that he never used, and it's the platform up there above the steel mill. Now, it is a bit tricky because the steel mill is going to pump out loads of noxious fumes and gases. But again, it's Minecraft, so that doesn't actually happen. But we're going to put our restaurant up above there, just down from, as you can see over there, the Bagger 288. So let's get up there and measure out how much room we've got and get ready to build. Now, my climbing gloves come in super handy. These are probably one of the best things to make in the game. Climbing gloves and slime boots mean you'll never die from falling damage, unless you make a mistake. And you'll be able to climb up everything, so height is never an issue. Nerd poling is a thing of the past. So we've got a nice amount of room up here. And if we have all of the restaurants arrayed along here, And we've got room for about 4 or 5. And then we can have a seating area over here, and that should be pretty good. We can have like some signposts above each of the different stalls so that you can see which restaurant's which, and then each of them's going to have their own kitchen where we can make our own dishes. Now we want to use Pam's mod because Pam's mod is the best mod, but the food that we want to make is nothing but the best. So we're going to obviously have a chili-wowers for chimichangas, but chimichangas aren't the best food. The best food is the stuff with the yellow text. Top tier food, always edible, and it buffs players. So as you can see, if you eat some of this stuff, like for example the Meat Feast pizza, you'll be able to get dairy, grain, protein, and vegetables. And if we click on this carrot, that'll fill up all of these bars. Wow, there's 5? I thought there were only 4. But once these get filled up, we'll get more hearts and more health, and that's great news. So let's map it out in our heads. We want to have a chili wowers for chimichangas, fair enough. We want to have a Pizza Hut for the Meat Feast pizza that I know Lewis wants. Southern style breakfast sounds super delicious. Oh yeah, just what the doctor ordered. And maybe a Korean dinner. Yeah, we can have a Korean barbecue joint. That'd be really, really freaking cool. So we have the framework in place for all of these recipes. Certainly the crops, the rice, the carrots, and the scallions. We can literally just redo the farms that we have to get these into production. However, one of the things that we're missing is, of course, a chicken coop. We'll need eggs for all of these things that we're making. So that's a project for the future. As for Meat Feast pizzas, well, meat is definitely back on the menu, boys. Pepperoni is just a case of, well, star anise, again, something we can grow. Bell peppers, again. Pork chops, no sweat. Cooked chicken is literally just a cooked chicken, but again, we'll need a chicken coop for that. And then the pizza itself is just cheese, dough, tomato, and pork chop. Alright, so the Meat Feast pizza, not too difficult to get. So one of the cool things, because I'm attuned to a star sign, means I don't get hungry at all, really. I mean, I have to eat every now and again, but it's very few and far between. I mean, look at this. I'm just jumping around, running around like a crazy man, and my hunger just isn't going down, which is kind of cool, but also kind of sad. It's like, imagine in real life if you never got hungry. I mean, yeah, it's cool because you could survive forever, but it's also sad because you couldn't eat pizza. And I don't think I want to live if I can't eat pizza, man. That's just rough. All right, well, this is going to be where we're going to build it. So let's get in-game and hit creative mode and build ourselves a nice little restaurant food court area. Right, so here we are above the city. Now you can see there I've put down 3 wool blocks because, again, I like to use coloured wool to map out the area before we do the actual building. So the yellow is going to be like a fence around the outside, where we're going to have the seating area inside that. The blue is the actual building itself for the food court, and all of the restaurants are going to be housed in there. And then we use the pink blocks to mark up areas in between so that we can get a better view, an idea of how many restaurants we can actually fit in the building. Now the blocks we're going to be using for this build are just plain old regular bricks, the red bricks, and marble blocks and marble pillars. Now you can see me here putting down these paintings. And that's because I want to use paintings as the graphics for each of the separate restaurants. But as you can see, I had to make some changes to the structure to fit in all of those restaurants. And the good news is we're going to be able to fit in about 5 different restaurants. So I've used the white marble pillars. I've used shingles from Mine Colonies, one of the best things about that mod, to be honest. And then I've built up even further with the white marble pillars to give it a more of like a kind of like a very, very Mediterranean look. And then it was time to come over and view from the top because I want to carve out a bit of the mountain and give myself some room inside here. Now, we're not going to need too much room inside the restaurant itself because all we're going to have in here are the multi-block kitchen blocks from cooking for blockheads, and also probably some storage where we can store all of the ingredients used for the foods. And then I covered over with some wood and filled in the shingles on top. It looks messy from the top, but from the side, which is where you're going to see it, it looks pretty good. Now I wanted to chip away as well at this wood that's the flooring for the platform. And I've used these white and these grey blocks inside the food court itself. And the grey is going to be the pathing, and the white is going to be for the seating area. And again, the white can sprawl out and lean out from those pillars there. And we'll add some fence posts to separate the separate food courts as well. There we go. Now you can see I've changed the paintings in the background because we don't want repeats of paintings. So I've used the big paintings. Some of those are 2x2 paintings together. And then there's some long, flat 2x4 paintings. And in the background, you can see me there with Bibliocraft, putting down the tables and chairs for the seating area. I've used immersive engineering lampposts, and these are going to be where I put my lighting, basically. Put some immersive engineering lamps on top of those, and some of these iron lanterns in between the pillars. And you can see as it comes to night, the area is pretty well lit up. Right, so there we go. We finally have space for our restaurants. Now, like I said, we've got to decorate these restaurants to make sure you know which is which. I like the theme that it's all the kind of same building, but it's got different restaurants inside it. Now, you see here, we've had to change the signs because the big one, there's only 2 designs for that. But with the smaller ones, there's actually enough designs for us to repurpose these into the signs we want. We can basically just do 2 halves of the same image, pan it over, and there we go. We have a logo for the restaurant. And this buys us enough space for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 restaurants. Now, I've built some oak signs, pretty simple, but this is just going to do the job here. And we're going to mark out the different restaurants. So this is going to be Chili Wowers, obviously. The OG, the Classico. Next up, we're going to have, we want meat pizzas, so we want a Pizza Hut. Boom. We want a Korean diner, so we're going to have Korean barbecue. And we'll think of some cool names that are relevant to like Duncan and me and Lewis in the episode. In fact, I might even ask those guys what they want to name these restaurants. We also need, let's see, Pizza Hut, Korean barbecue, Chili Wowers. We need a Southern style breakfast place, because that's something. Southern style. And what else? There was one more food that we should build. Now, there's beef burgers. Beef burgers are a classic, and there's no such thing as a food court without a decent burger joint. Now, as you can see, the floor in here is only wood at the moment, but I'm going to change that to kind of crisscross white and black tiles pattern that you get in like a lot of kitchens and stuff, and like it's very kind of like a Five Guys feel. So I feel like the last place should be a burger joint, and so it's going to be Burgerlicious. Burger joint. Burger joint. Not to be confused with Mary Jane. We're not going to have a burger weed here. So we've got Chili Wowers, nice. Pizza Hut, nice. Korean barbecue, oh yeah. Southern style. And burger joint, sweet. Well, it's locked in. So what we're going to do now, or rather next episode, because that's what we're going to call it for this episode, but there's some things we need to do. Now, each one of these is going to need a separate kitchen. But I'm going to link up all the kitchens and have them share the same inventory so that we can just get all the food in one little box. But what we're going to do now is we're going to make kitchens for every single one of these. Now, I'm not sure if they need their own separate kitchens, because it kind of seems like a bit of a waste to have several different cutting boards and chopping boards and ovens. But at the same time, we're going to want several ovens so that we can cook food for each restaurant at the same time. So I think what we'll probably do is have like 4 or 5, an oven for each one, a cutting board and all of the other materials. You need one for the whole of the restaurant area. We need a couple of fridges. Now we could do a load of cows in jars, but again, I don't like the idea of that. We're going to run out of milk pretty quickly even with that. We could have like shelves and shelves of cows on jars above the top, but even then we're going to run out of milk, I think. So a milk facility is going to be a needed thing. But certainly at the back here, we can have all the kitchens. Or maybe what we'll do is we'll have like a middle section. Most kind of restaurant kitchens have a middle island where all of the cooking stuff goes on. And in the back, we can have all the storage for all of the... but it's got to be connected. Well, we'll work it out next episode. But yeah, we're locked in. Oh, man. So we have a goal going forwards. We need a milk facility for milk. We need a chicken coop for chickens and eggs. We need we need to actually plumb in our railway station, because at the moment the railway goes all the way along there, but we need to make a way to get the food from the railway station up to here. And actually, I think we might even be closer to the farm at the restaurant than we are at the train station. But maybe we can have the train come all the way up here as well and drop off the food. That might be a cool shout. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Feed the City. Next episode, we're going to be fitting these kitchens. And then after we've done that, perhaps moving on to building a milk facility. So stay tuned for that. Or if we don't do that, it's going to be the chicken coop. And I'll see if I can get the artwork done for those signs in the background so that you can see which each of these restaurants is. But actually, before we do that, we're going to need a name and a theme. So I might wait until I've spoken to the other guys about the restaurant theme and name. So until next time, guys, thank you for watching and take care.